Well, welcome in once again, everybody. Thank you for joining our show today. But first, please like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell on YouTube so you'll know when we release a new show. And also, if you want, please leave us a comment to let us know how we're doing. I'm your host, Dennis Silvers. Welcome to this edition of the 19th Hole podcast for golfers. Got a wonderful show for you today. We've got a great guest, one of our favorite guests, one of our favorite people. And you're really going to enjoy this gentleman because he's just a walking encyclopedia of golf history, because he's done a lot of things. But anyway, I forgot to mention last week, or the week before actually, I was in South Dakota. I was in Greenville, South Dakota. I was shooting a pilot with my friend John Giles, who lives in Tampa, for a new golf series we're trying to get off the ground called Show and Go Golf. And what makes this show different is do some great interviews. This show is different because we are doing nothing but concentrating on par 3 or executive golf courses. And say what you want, but there's a lot of advantages to playing golf courses like that. Number one, they're a heck of a lot quicker to get around than a full-blown 18-hole golf course. They're a heck of a lot cheaper. And what's really cool, you see a lot of families come out. Guys coming out with their wives or their girlfriends or their sisters. Their kids come out. And this particular golf course called the Threes is really neat because it's 18 holes, but the owner has taken 5 holes and put those aside strictly for the members to use as warm-up holes in lieu of a driving range. They also play golf under the lights there, because when we were there, it's very warm and very humid. So they get a lot of their business, say, from 4:30 to 9 o'clock at night under the lights when it's a lot cooler. Humidity's a lot less, and it was really fun. We're doing the editing right now. Should be out in a couple of weeks. I'll certainly let you know. It's going to be on a lot of platforms, and I think we're hoping it does very well. I think that you're going to like it. We certainly enjoyed doing it very much. Anyway, let me give you a little background on our special guest, Mr. Bob Bubka. He is known as the voice of golf. Bob Bubka has been an announcer with TRB World Golf Radio, which is huge, for over 4 decades. So he's got a little bit of seniority, I would say. Bob is also an author of the best-selling book entitled The Ryder Cup, Golf's Greatest Event, along with Tom Clavin. He is the co-author. Bob has covered and reported at more major championships than anyone that I know of. So he's got some great stories. Throughout his broadcasting career, Bob has become friends with all of golf's great players, from Tiger to Nicklaus, and has unfettered access to them for interviews and special golf events, which is really saying something. So without further ado, as they say, let's bring up Mr. Bob Bubka on camera. Bob, always great to have you on, my friends. You're looking good. How you feeling, buddy?
My, with that intro, you're making me sound awfully old. But it's an honor and a privilege to be on with you, Dennis. And I really was excited about that news that you broke before bringing me on about highlighting par 3 golf courses.
Yeah.
I think they're the hidden gems. And I think there's certainly a valid way of getting more people to play.
Absolutely.
And you know, they enjoy the par 3s, then they move on to a regulation course.
Exactly.
Good move on your part, Dennis.
Well, I appreciate it, and we're hoping we're going to go all around the different par threes, kind of highlight them. Our next show is going to be in Southern California at Laguna Beach at a place that's supposed to be the most beautiful par three course in California. But we're open to going anywhere. And you're right, Bob. It's I don't think they get the credit they deserve because number one, they're fun to play. You could work on your short game. You could get around in no time and go in and, have a beer or lunch when you're done. And that's exactly what, what we do. So I'll keep you abreast, obviously, of what's going on and make sure to send you a copy of the first show. I very much would value your comments and what we maybe could do a little bit better. It was a learning experience, obviously, but the people there at the threes, they call it the threes, absolutely, absolutely fantastic. Bob, you're the perfect guest to ask about what you like or maybe dislike about the Live Tour. Any thoughts on that?
Well, what I don't like, Dennis, is I don't like the discord between the PGA Tour and Live.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, obviously, they're going to have to come to some sort of arrangement.
Yes.
I know when the PGA Tour started out, and I'm sure you felt the same way, Dennis Silva's, in that, the PGA Tour was almighty and had, so many funds available.
Yeah.
But they found out that Live, in reality, probably has more funds available. And if you're going to get into a disagreement with an organization, the worst thing that you have is that organization has more money than you.
Right,
because
right.
Most of the fights I know, money wins.
That's exactly right. Money wins, and there's some other advantages. They don't play as many events, so they could spend more time at home. They say with their family. They play some very, very good golf courses, and if you like traveling, that's just a bonus. And I think the competition, they've got some of the best players in the world there, as you know. And the competition is pretty good, being 54 holes, and I think that's going to change in the immediate future. You got to keep your, the metal to the pedal. You take a double bogey someplace, that's going to be awfully hard to make up and catch up with a chance to win these events. And the audience is growing. They got to work on their network connections, which I think they're trying mightily to do, and they're here to stay, Bob. You're absolutely right. So they got to get this thing settled. I know there's a bunch of litigation going on back and forth, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Anyway, Bob, you're the perfect guy to ask since you have had an illustrious career in broadcasting. In what areas and what ways, Bob, can broadcasting golf events on both radio and television be improved? Can you think of anything?
Well, the only thing I can think of, and it's been the ultimate goal since when I started originally on radio and then advancing to TV, you got to make the fan or the spectator feel like he's part of the action. You want him to be excited as if he was out there.
Right.
And sometimes I think that TV is guilty of jumping around a little too much. They're on one hole and they're on another hole.
Yeah.
And it's hard to build the excitement level, Dennis.
Yeah.
You're a cagey radio veteran of golf. You know how to transpire drama, and that's what golf needs.
Right.
I mean, it needs excitement. I mean, you want people, just can't wait to find out what's going to happen.
Right. Exactly right. Well said. Well said. And it's not that easy to do. You've got to pick people like yourself that understand it that have an imagination, that are able to communicate that. It's not all that easy. Anyway, I got a question in from a listener. I got a text message, wants to know your feeling about rolling back the ball in a couple of years. You think that's going to do anything for anybody?
That's such a tough question for me, Dennis, and I'll explain why. Uh, Even if I don't think that it's valid and we should do that,
Yeah.
Jack Nicklaus thinks that we should. And for me to take a position in golf that's contrary to the position Jack Nicklaus has taken, I don't think I'm worthy of making a decision like that.
I don't think personally it's going to affect the tour players, but it will affect, I believe, the amateurs much, much more. I can't imagine the ball manufacturers, Bob, being very happy about it, having to gear up and make one ball and, that type of thing with all the R&D they've put into all the various golf balls that they have made, which are many, 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 by the way. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens, I think.
Yeah, well, you know as well as I do, Dennis, as involved in this game as you have been, very few have involved themselves to the extent. The one thing about amateur players, they really enjoy playing the equipment the pros play. They want
Absolutely.
to play the clubs that pros play. They
Absolutely.
even want to carry a bag that looks like a pro bag. And certainly they want to hit a golf ball that's the same as the pros.
Right.
If they're forced to hit a different golf ball, I think the sport will lose quite a bit.
Yeah. I wholeheartedly agree with that. And like I say, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. Not that there won't be people, and you know it, I know it, that are going to buy balls on the black market, if you will, that aren't rolled back because they want to hit it far, they want to get it down the fairway, and they go, I don't want to be penalized for that. I got enough problems hitting it far enough. So. We'll have to see what happens. But like I say, with the tour players, another 10 yards or so is not going to make a bit of difference to them.
No, you're right about that, Dennis. And there's a solution for that. Make the fairway a little narrower.
Yeah.
Make the bunker a little wider. And then if you're good enough to hit it that far, that straight, then you ought to be rewarded.
Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. Bob, you have broadcast so many tournaments, so many majors, as I mentioned at the top, and you've seen a gazillion golf courses. After all of these years and after all of the majors that you have done, what, in your opinion, is the one or two things that golf course architects, golf course designers can do to slow these guys up? And I'm talking about the tour players.
No, I know. That's a great question, Dennis. And as I alluded to a little earlier, if you make it a little harder, make the target a little smaller, so that we call on the premium of the best players' ability.
Yeah.
That's really the only solution. If the target's too wide, they can get up there and just smash it and not worry about the consequences.
Right.
But if it's a little tighter, rough maybe a little higher, bunker a little bit deeper, greens a little bit faster, just the course that Dennis would love to play.
Maybe once, and maybe 9 holes or something. Oh, boy. Bob, as I mentioned, you've covered tons of major championships. What major, if any, in your opinion, has maybe lost a little bit of its significance, if any?
Why, I think just the opposite. I think all four majors, Dennis, have, increased in importance, and they all stand on their own.
Sure.
That's one of the great arguments in golf, which is the best major.
Yeah.
I mean, you ask a lot of different players which major would they prefer to win. You're not going to get a universal answer.
Yeah.
Some are going to say the U.S. Open.
Right.
Some are going to say the Open.
Right.
Some are going to say the Masters. Others are going to say the PGA. And I think because of that response, I think that's what makes the majors the great events that they really are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Not as great as the Ryder Cup, as you so aptly wrote in your book. By the way, tell all of our audience that book is still available.
Oh, it sure is. It's on Amazon, and you can get your copy right there, and readily available.
Good, yeah, and it's definitely a read you should have in your golf library. And if you want, send it to me. I'll forge Bob's signature and, do a little personal thing or whatever. Definitely a book you should have, though. Why is the Ryder Cup, Bob, in your opinion, such a great event?
Well, I think that's easy, Dennis. When I talk to players, even in writing the book, there's something to go out and play for yourself. Is another thing to go play for a team.
Yeah.
But Dennis, stop and think. With the Ryder Cup, you get the opportunity, the golden opportunity, to play for your country.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, there's no greater honor in anything than being able to play for your country. And that's really what makes the Ryder Cup the event that it is. I mean, the excitement level is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I would say this, any of our listeners or your listeners, more specific, Dennis, if they haven't been to a Ryder Cup, you go to one, and if you don't think it's the best thing ever, Dennis will reimburse you.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's just an awesome event. Not only do you see great golf, do you see great players, but you're right, that excitement and that the cheering and it's what goes on with the gallery and stuff. It really is a hell of an event. A lot of people think winning the gold medal in the Olympics, for golf, is analogous to that. I don't. I think they're totally two separate things. I think the level of play isn't quite the same. Is not quite the same. Anyway, Bob, stay with me. We've got to take a short break. We'll be back in about a minute and a half or so, and we will come back. We'll have a lot more with our very special guest, the voice of golf, Mr. Bob Bubka. Back right after this. One of the perks about being in golf media is that I get to try every club ever made. Of course, like most things, some are better than others. I'm here to tell you that I have found unquestionably the absolute best performing set of irons I have ever played, and my scores show it. Let me introduce you to Grindworks, custom-fitted irons that are made to fit your game. Grindworks offers players 3 different styles of irons. You can choose muscleback irons, cavity back irons, and even blades, along with some awesome wedges. And when you purchase your clubs, Grindworks lets you choose the type of shaft you want, the type grip you prefer, and even will adjust the loft and lie of your clubs if needed. That's unheard of. So what are you waiting for? Feel the power and experience and performance of these amazing clubs. Simply go to grindworksusa.com or call 281-651-4046 to order. Trust me, your handicap will love you for it. The revolutionary Power to Golf Club requires no swing to hit golf shots from 50 up to 225 yards. That's right, no swing. It's empowering golfers with physical issues to continue enjoying time golfing with friends and family. With just the push of a button, the easy-to-use Power to Golf Club launches shots down the fairway and onto the green. Whether a physical issue or just want to join in on the fun, the Power to Golf Club is for you. Visit online, powergolfclub.com. Well, welcome back, everybody, to more of the 19th Hole podcast for golfers. I'm your host, Dennis Silvers, having a wonderful conversation with a good friend of ours, Mr. Bubka. And Bob, there's so many areas I would like to go into with you, but, you know, we only don't have that much time, unfortunately. But if there were, and I'm sure you've had this conversation, I shouldn't say I'm sure, I would imagine you've had this conversation with a number of golf stars, with people from the commissioner's office or whatever. If you were able to change a rule or two in golf, what would that be? Most people say, I go back to the divot, it's unfair, blah, blah, blah. What's your view on that? What would you like to have changed if you could?
Ironically enough, and it doesn't surprise me with your vast knowledge of this sport, I do think it's a little unfair that a player drives it right down the middle and ends up in a divot hole.
Yeah.
That's one of my pet peeves. They say it lands in a divot. Well, the divot is what went flying. The obstacle that presents itself is your ball being in that divot hole.
Right.
And I don't think that's quite fair. So if you're in the fairway and you get in a divot hole, I think you should be able to replace it with no penalty. But hey, who am I? Golf's been around a lot longer than even you, Dennis Silvers.
You're right. You're absolutely right, Bob. But most people say that, and I agree with you. You're getting, they say it's a rub of the green, whatever, but I think you're being penalized unnecessarily, and that shouldn't happen. And it's easy to change a rule on that. Move it out, take a drop, whatever. But most of these guys, as you know, Bob, and you've seen it over the years, are good enough where they'll get it out, they'll knock it on the green, they'll hit a great shot. It's just absolutely amazing. But given that, I think that some of the rules they should review, I think, the rules of golf every so often, every few years, to see if they need a revamping, or they need to be changed, they need to be deleted, or whatever. Speaking of being deleted, there has been some talk about the commissioner of the PGA Tour in hot water with a number of players because of his actions with the Live Tour. I know you know the commissioner. What do you think about him personally? Is he doing a good job? Should he step back a little bit? What do you say?
Boy, Dennis, that is a powerful question. And to give you the honest answer, if I knew the answer, I'm sure that I would have a first-class plane ride available to me down in Ponte Vedra and admission into Jay Monahan's office where we could discuss it. It's a problem of magnitude proportions.
Yeah.
I mean, there's probably 10 solutions, maybe 20 solutions.
Yeah.
But to find one that works, I'm sure Jay had some discussions with Jay, and he knows the gravity of the situation.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He would like nothing more to smooth things out, to have the PGA Tour and the Live Tour get together and have professional golf go back to the way it way it was.
Yeah.
You know, it was a gentleman's game. That's what brought you into the game, Dennis. You know, you want to be a gentleman. You want to play this game. You don't want to argue about this rule, that rule,
Yeah.
uh, and hopefully, uh, wiser heads are going to prevail.
Yeah.
They'll all get together. They'll say, "Hey, here's what we got to do." They'll lay it down, and we'll be back to the good old days.
Right. Yeah. No, I like that, Bob, and I think you're right. They want to get back to the way they think, the way things were. Everybody kind of gets along, and they have a common goal, and that's to play the game to the best of their ability, and to keep appeasing the galleries and all of that kind of stuff. So I think eventually it's got to happen. It just can't keep going like this. But I think Monahan is feeling more and more pressure as time goes by, not only from the players, but from some of the investors now in the PGA Tour, all of these billionaires that have thrown money at it. So we will see what happens. I got another text message. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Real quick, there's another valid reason pushing for a settlement. The only thing being hurt really is charities. And, if we get back on the same page, singing the same song, charities will get the money that they deserve. Charitable money is the driving force behind the PGA Tour. And right now, when there's, not agreement amongst the leading bodies, it's just not good for the game, not good for the charities.
Yeah, no, absolutely correct, Bob. Great point. And, as far as it costs these sponsors a hell of a lot of money to get involved with a PGA Tour event, especially a very well-known, very popular event. And with all this stuff going on the side, this friction and this and that, and the tour has lost a little bit of viewership. That certainly doesn't make the sponsors happy, Bob. Can't.
Good point there, Dennis. And that's the main thing. The PGA Tour wants PGA Tour golf to be the most exciting golf available for the viewer to watch.
Right.
That means that it'll be the most exciting golf that the viewer can go out and participate and contribute to the charities. And that's what we have to strive for. Charities first, harmony second, excitement, personified. And by the way, speaking of excitement, gotta mention Musings on Golf. It's a podcast I do, Dennis, with Kelly Elbin, formerly of the PGA of America, and we do a weekly show. And I'd love to extend an invite to your listeners when they get a chance. Just find Musings on Golf. I think you'll enjoy it.
Oh, I'm sure, I definitely encourage people to listen. Where does it air, and when does it air, Bob?
It's a weekly show, and I'm sorry, lost my train of thought there. You can find it on musingsongolf.com. That's musingsongolf.com. And we'd be proud to have any listener of Dennis Silver's join our group on Musings.
Well, I'm going to listen myself, so there you go.
There you go.
There you go. Absolutely. That's how long is the podcast, Bob?
It's about 45 minutes.
Okay.
But we have wonderful guests, and just recently we had Boo Weekly.
Oh,
Probably one of the most colorful guys ever to play the game. Plus, being very talented, Boo Weekly won 3 times on the PGA Tour. I mean, not many players alive can say that they're a three-time winner
True.
on that PGA Tour. He's on the Champions Tour now, getting his feet wet, and
Yeah.
I think once he gets comfortable, he's probably going to be a winner
Oh, yeah.
on the Champions Tour also.
Yeah, he's got way too much talent. Yeah, he was a character. He was great out on the regular PGA Tour. I'd love to have him on the show myself. He'd be a very, very good guest. All right, we will encourage everybody to tune in to that show. Also, have you thought, Bob, with all your experiences, all the people that you know and that you've talked to, and all the inside baseball that you have gotten through the years, about writing another book?
Well, there's been some external pressure put on along those lines. When I reflect back, I've been very blessed with lots of great things
Oh, yeah.
that happened to me, and people want me to share those experiences, and
Yeah.
I think maybe in the near future that's going to be a project, and I'm going to give you credit for motivating me.
Well, thank you very much. I think it would be awesome because you could share some stories and experiences that you've had like nobody else. I'm sure that would be absolutely fantastic. I just got another text message in from a viewer who wants to know what's the toughest, and you've had gazillions of them. What's one of the hardest interviews you have done? With who?
Well, I'm going to give you the honest answer to that question.
Yes.
And it's Greg Norman, not because the interview was tough, but it was tough to get him to do the interview. I mean, Greg, you never knew. I would walk up to Greg and he'd be gracious and have time. Another time he wouldn't have time for me. The one thing that I had a lot of fun of doing, I was asked to get Greg Norman, and he said to me, I don't have time right now, Bob. And I said, Greg, thank you very much. Jack Nicklaus is waiting for me. Now I don't have to keep him waiting.
That's great. That is a great story. That is a wonderful story. Yeah. Yeah. I have heard he's kind of tough to get in the corner and talk to and do an interview with.
But a good guy.
Yeah.
A good guy, and he was a hell of a player.
He sure
A
was.
hell of a player. There's no doubt about that whatsoever.
Yeah. And he's really breaking his neck to make this live thing happen and do the best he can for that tour. And I think all of the players that are on the live tour now do respect him. They take his advice, and just an interesting guy all around. All right, Bob, we're up against a hard break. We're going to be about another minute or so. Stay with us, and when we come back, we will finish up with our special guest, Mr. Bob Bubka. Be right back.
Carter Bonus of Spectrum Golf not slowing down. His third year at the PGA Show, and the cameras are still following him. This time, Whistle Sports Media and Entertainment and Fox 35's morning show in Orlando, Florida. Spectrum Golf Apparel, one of the few lines selected for the PGA Fashion Show, is designed with skin sensitivity in mind, like Carter's. Get your super soft golf gear today at carterspectrumgolf.com.
Hi, I'm Dennis Silvers, but I'm not here today to talk to you about golf. I'm here to talk to you about America's favorite pastime, baseball. America's pastime is back and better than ever with a twist you won't believe. Introducing Old Timers Day, a movie coming soon to theaters near you.
It is a story detailing the greatest baseball game of all time. Two teams, one chosen by God, one chosen by Satan, with the greatest players of all time, living and deceased, playing alongside each other to to determine the fate of mankind.
This book, world tour, and movie will help unify the millions of baseball fans around the country and help satisfy the millions of people that have faith and compassion for their fellow man.
Who will win this epic game? You'll have to watch to find out. Expect an unforgettable experience that will touch your heart and soul. The Good Old Boys is brought to you by the Celestial Baseball Association, who are hitting home runs for God. Old Timers Day, where the spirit of baseball meets the power of faith. Don't miss it. Order your copy today at dpztechnology.com/store. Get this, use promo code OTD20 for an amazing 20% off. All right, welcome back to more of the 19th Hole podcast. That's going to be an amazing movie, and I'm fortunate enough to have been asked to do some of the voiceover for that movie, so it's going to happen pretty soon. I can't wait because it's going to be absolutely amazing. More with our special guest, Mr. Bubka, and what are you liking about living in the Houston area, Bob? As opposed to way back east where you were.
Well, I love all the golf that's available. So many wonderful golf facilities in and around Houston. The Insperity people, they host a tournament here, which is well run now on the Champions Tour, and just a lot of fun. Great place to be. Except June, July, and August.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, it's like that in a lot of parts of the country, but it is what it is, and that's summertime and stuff. But yeah, it's a wonderful state. I have a lot of friends, other friends in Houston and Dallas area. They love it, and a lot of people are moving to that state. They're getting out of California. They're coming here to Nevada. They're going there and other places. So. It happens. Do you follow politics at all, Bob?
I love following politics, but I don't put my nose too much in them, except when asked my certain opinions on things. Then I'm readily available to do it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're going to have to get you on. I do another show. It's popular called Pick Your Politics, and we talk about all sorts of things. We do local, regional, national politicians and talk about their ideas to fix things and so on and so forth, and love doing it because I've liked politics for a long, long time. Real quickly, are you keeping track of this presidential race that's going on? I'm sure you are.
I sure. It's going to be a Jim Dandy. That's all I can say. I can't wait till it's over.
Yeah,
I did have the luxury of having lunch with Donald Trump. Janice and I, just the three of us. That was quite an experience.
Oh, I bet.
He's a fascinating guy, and in just a lot of ways. Is he going to win? I can't predict right now, but he's certainly putting up a good fight.
Yeah, he is. It's going to be a hell of a race. Let me tell you, it's going to be very interesting. Have you ever had the opportunity to play golf with him or talk about his golf game?
Well, we talked about his golf game over lunch because it was at Mar-a-Lago.
Okay.
It was only the three of us, and he's very proud of his ability to play golf. A lot of people make fun of it, but
he loves the game.
He loves the game,
Yeah.
and he spends a lot of money on the game.
Yeah.
And people that love golf, you got to give him a little credit for the money that he does spend and the attention that he draws to the game.
Right.
Golf's better with Donald Trump in it than golf would be with Donald Trump out of it.
Totally agree, 100%. 100%. I'd love to go out and have him come out. He's coming to Las Vegas this weekend for another rally, and say, "Come on, Mr. President, let's go out and play a quick 9." And and then we'll go to the rally and see how you're doing. Yeah, that would be great. Anyway, before I let you go, what's on tap for Mr. Bubka? What do you got coming up in the near future?
Well, we're winding down a little bit. Obviously, the season's over. Looking forward to 2025. I think it's really going to be exciting. The caliber of players that we have now on the PGA Tour is just incredible.
Yeah.
And don't overlook this guy, Shigeki Mariyama. He is incredible. Obviously now the best Asian player ever to play the game, and he's bringing a lot of attention from faraway places in the world, and he's just something special.
Yeah, yeah. Do you think we'll see another season like Scotty Scheffler has had this year? Absolutely incredible. It's almost indescribable how good this guy is week after week after week.
Well, if all I can say is if he has another season like he just had, people will be saying, "Tiger who?"
Exactly.
Tiger who?
Exactly. Exactly right. Exactly right. So anyway, please give my best to your better half, to Janice. And you look great. Take care of yourself. Always glad to have you on, because I know you're one of our favorite people. We will be back in touch soon, and we'd love to have you back again, obviously, sooner than later, Bob.
Well, it's an honor and privilege to be on the air with you, Dennis. You're one of the real pioneers
You're very
of
kind.
golf broadcasting, and I'm proud to share some airtime with you.
You're very kind to say that. Bob, take care of yourself, and we'll be in touch soon. Again, thank you very much for your time. Thank you. All right, that's it for this episode of our show today. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and please hit that notification bell on YouTube so you'll know when we have another new show that is out that you could view. And also, please leave us a comment and let us know how we're doing, good or bad. We appreciate everything. Until then, that's going to wrap it up for this edition of the 19th Hole Podcast. For Bob Bubka, I'm Dennis Silvers, and we'll see you back same place, same time next week. So long, everybody. Get out and play some golf.